He wasn't my type at all. My type is actually Paul Walker, rest in peace.
What more do you want from me?
He wasn't my type at all. And my type is not white. I'm just saying I was more interested in
touch me.
Paul and every Fast and Furious.
Don't touch me.
Oh, man. See, women nowadays, bro, they gonna speak openly and proud. And when it comes to being emotional, Tyrese is really good for that. He's really good for that. But guys, you have to understand when it comes to women now, especially the more popular you are, the more they're going to try to embarrass you because that's where they're going to get their attention from. That's what's happened to him. Talking about her, Paul Walker was her first, and he getting all emotional. Let's get to the next video. This is thoughts. He tried selling a celebrity for $10K, and this girlfriend didn't. Let's see what this is about.
I'll let Steve fuck my girlfriend for $10,000.
You'll pay him $10,000 to fuck your girlfriend?
Yeah. No. He gets
He got it.
$10,000.
What's your girlfriend look like?
She's right there.
Right here. His girlfriend?
Yeah. Let's bring her to the
Hey,
for 50 grand.
She would leave you for Steve.
I'm not worried at all.
Take your girlfriend and her friend in to meet Steve without you and see if it happens.
Do that.
Let's go right now.
Yeah, come on. You two can come. You guys gotta stay. Or you can stay with your boyfriend. Your choice.
You leave for everything else.
Young girls. You taking who left her boyfriend to meet you today?
Sell me too. Yeah, he's right out there.
Boyfriend, come on.
Yes, sir. I'm the boyfriend. Steve, I'm the boyfriend. 50K for annual.
Devil is alive.
Generation Z, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with y'all, man. But I can tell you this. I don't see what happens from here. What do I mean by I don't see what happens from here? I don't know what the next generation is going to be like. I can honestly tell you, I don't see any hope at all. I don't know why, I just don't see any hope. All right, next video we're going to get into is going to be coming from Just Purely Things. And this video is going to be playing into my lecture as well. And this video is why modern women chooses bad boys over the nice guy, which is what I am going to be giving a lecture on. Hold on, let me check my stats. All right, we got 310 in here with 211 likes. Let's fix that. Only 40 on the chat. Let's get those donations up. It's been an hour. Let's get those donations up. Show me some love or show me the likes. Y'all see me putting in the work. Show the love or show the likes. Let's get the likes up at least. All right, let's get to it.
I will say.
I think that when they...
Do you guys think women pick nice guys or bad boys?
Oh, I feel like they go for the bad boys.
Okay.
And then they learn from experience. I'm trying to put it the best.
Yeah, they learn from experience.
Are you talking from experience?
No, I'm just saying.
Right.
But yeah, I think that's
the bad boys.
Yeah.
I agree. I think bad boys. I would agree, but I personally wouldn't go for a bad boy because I learn from other people's mistakes.
I was going to say that.
You said you came from a 2-parent home, right? Mm-hmm. Do you think that has helped you vet guys better?
With guys?
Yeah, because you have your dad as like an example.
Not necessarily, because I speak to my brother. I have an older brother. Okay. I speak to him about like boy problems if I ever like.
You ever have that?
Yeah, but I wouldn't speak to my dad about it because where I was born here, and my dad's from Ghana, so they have like traditional ideologies about what a relationship should consist of and what it shouldn't. You know what I mean? So it's just like it's really hard to explain that to my father now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just.
How long have your parents been married?
Plus 30 years.
You don't think it's good to get an opinion of a guy that's been married 30 plus years on what to look for?
I just feel like I haven't had that connection with my dad, so I'd find it a little bit awkward to have that conversation with him. Yeah, whereas with me and my brother, I see my brother more as the paternal figure because we have such a vast age gap. So, yeah.
But you know what, Pearl? I think it would be good to get advice from people who have been in relationships for that long if they are in tune with what is going on in 2022.
Yeah.
Now, that's what I agree with. He's absolutely right. In order for a parent to teach their child about relationships, the parent has to be in tune with reality. A lot of parents are not in tune with reality because they have to be in tune with their job. They're just trying to maintain and keep their job. When they come home, they put the child in front of a computer. They put the child in front of the cell phone. And that's what's raising the children. It's because they're seeing life at a different speed than what their parents can teach them. Big shout outs to Project Game Plan with the $2. Really appreciate it, my dude. So yes, parents have a disconnect between the child and the parent now because technology divides them.
And I think a lot of parents who have been together for a long time are together because they're from a different era.
But isn't it kind of impossible for those two things to be together? You know, it's somewhat mutually exclusive for them to be together that long and then also be in tune with what's going on now because they haven't been in the dating market right now. So
yeah, exactly.
You know, it's kind of
changed.
like I can't be asking my dad about advice for what's going on now when he was dating 40 years ago.
Yeah, but I think there's just some.
He said the same thing that the guy said, but tried to make it sound like he was saying something different. We ain't doing that.
Bad boys.
Necessarily, because I speak to my.
When I started asking my dad for like dating advice a little bit, men are very insightful. I think it's good you talk to your brother too, because I think men just they're better at vetting men than women are a lot of the time because we can I don't know,
Make the red flag look pink.
Yeah.
Men know men.
Yeah.
Men know. Sorry, you were going to say something, Charlie?
It was about what you said about being in tune with today's dating scene. If you've been married for such a long time, 30 years, I don't think it makes any difference because the trends are the same.
Go on.
See, you ladies admit you'd go for a bad boy in your early years. I think if I was to ask the elder women in my family, when they were single, before they got married, what kind of men were they attracted to before they settled down, they'd probably say the same thing. I can see the trend happening with, even girls that I've dated, they'll go with a bad boy. Most of the women that I know that have got children, that are single, they're all to bad boy men. And I find that...
Is that what you are?
I wouldn't say I'm a bad boy. No, I wouldn't say I'm a bad boy.
Sorry, continue. I was just
No, I know. But I would say that I've got elements of, being a bit direct and being very much like, this is what we need to do to get this stuff done. And I don't mind dismissing a situation or relationship if it's not working out and it's beneficial to the progress of my family.
Right.
See, I don't necessarily need a woman to walk into my situation and think she's going to be a mum. There's a difference between what I think single men want from relationships versus what single mothers want from. So
single mothers want a step.
Yeah, earlier on, you want that guy to come in and look after you because that would be the natural order of things. The man heads your family, whether it be the biological man to your children or
another one.
The extra man is what I would call him.
You call him the extra man.
The extra. Well, he's always going to be extra because he's never going to come first.
Right.
And that's what a lot of guys have to know whenever you are becoming a stepdad is that you're never going to have to be first. All right. You have to deal with those things is that, yes, you're always the extra guy that's there. I always tell guys, if you're dealing with a single mother, live in separate houses, bro. So you can have your own thing that you do because no matter how close you get to a single mom, you're always going to be the other guy. And in a lot of cases, the children are pandered, which means that you have to deal with children that are spoiled to the mom that you may not want to see it. You may be a guy who's in shape, got your life together. You done met the mother at the gym, but her child is fat. And she just keeps feeding her child food. And her child just keeps getting fatter and fatter and fatter. And she just keeps pandering the child because she feels sorry for the child. That's one of the biggest things that guys as stepfathers have to deal with is pandering of the kids. The kids would 9 times out of 10 be bad. And she'll just continue to pander them because she feels sorry that the father is not there.
He's not the biological dad. The kid knows that. The mum knows that. But I find that men, especially myself, I speak for myself, I don't expect any woman to walk into my life and say, I'm expected to be a stepmom. And I make that very clear. I make it very clear.
Same here.
This is my responsibility. If you want to take part and it gets to that point and you meet my child and you want to go there, you can. But it's not an expectation.
Correct.
And I think that's where you have the jadedness that you have from men that try to avoid single mums because there is that expectation, whether women want to admit it or not, that they must step up to the mark and fill the void that the alpha, the bad boy, left behind.
Right. But I think also when it comes to men avoiding single mums. You know, I'm 24 right now. I'm technically in my prime physically in terms of my earning potential. You know, there's still time to go there, but the way I look at it is, why would I want to go into a family that's already somewhat built and have to fill that role when I can, you know, find someone who doesn't have a kid, build my own home, and again, like you were saying before, you know, I have certain rights to that.
Okay, I want to challenge that. The reason why I want to challenge that, we have a lot of guys that say that. Why would I want to go into a relationship with another girl who has a child that's already built when I could just build it on my own? For one, you can't control who you like. You can't. What if that girl is the only girl that's giving you attention? The only girl that's willing to even try to be in a relationship, but the standard of woman that you want don't like you back. This is what happens in real life. People come online, you have all kind of things, you have all kind of statements and all kind of scenarios you want to put out there. But when it's all said and done, you cannot control who you like. And this is how guys end up in relationships with single mothers. It's because there's an attraction there that he's not getting from the other woman. I tell people this all the time. You can have your standards, but you start to drop those standards the longer you go without your standard walking into your life. This is what makes single mothers attractive. It's because they may come into your life humble and be willing to sit down and have a conversation and talk to you, but the girl out there that you think you deserve doesn't give you the time of the day. That's how. Let's get back to it.
Kid in terms of how I discipline him, how I do certain things, what he their routine. Whereas when it's not my child, fair enough, I can love that kid, but the moment a mum doesn't love me anymore, it's done, it's finished.
Yeah, you're right.
So
you're right.
And you have no rights to the kids after. So like I've talked to guys that have raised a kid for like 10 years or 5 years, and they fall in love with the kid, and then it's over, and they can't see the kid anymore.
I had to deal with that myself. I had to deal with that. I had to. It's a double breakup. Right, so you break up with the mother and you also break up with the child, and it's like, wow, I've raised you for this long, and now I'm not even allowed to see. Like, you became my child. Do you know what I mean? And so it's like, and that's one of the reasons why I tell men, if they do get with women who are single mothers, you need to understand exactly what you're getting yourself into. You know?
Do you?
This is why I tell guys, before you start dealing with single mothers, you better have the house you want. You don't necessarily have to have a house. You just have to be living in your own place. And you have to have the car you want. Make sure you have your dreams, that you're at least accomplishing your dreams. Because you don't want to be giving a single mother and her kids all the time and you have no say-so over them and she's parenting them. That's only going to be a headache. Have your life together. At least have your money already spent on things that you like. The worst thing you could do is get in these relationships, start spending your money, building up a bond, and then you and the kid, you and her don't work out, but you're still attached to the kid. That's where it hurts. Make sure even when you're dating these single mothers, you're still chasing your dream, and the single mother and her kids are second to you. Too many guys, when you want to date a single mother, you want to be a hero to them. And I think that's where guys go backwards, is trying to be the hero.
I think that the stepdads should be able to adopt the kids if they're in the home more than the actual dad.
No.
I would say that might depend on the child.
Because of how important it is for a man to be in the home, I think that might be the way to go. Because again, you know, fathers stop sons from ending up in prison. You know, if a child is a scammer, a drug dealer, or is involved in any form of deplorable activity that could land him in prison, it tends to be because the father isn't there. You know, if a daughter ends up, you know, in any form of sex work, again, it tends to be because, you know, the father isn't there. And so if a man is there, you know, a stepfather is there, and he's stepping up, then I think it makes sense for that child to have the stability of, you know, knowing I'm adopted by this man. This man is basically my father now.
What do you guys think?
I think there's potential risk if it depends on the status of the relationship. I would personally be married to the person. I wouldn't take any risk because you never know what their intentions are. You've got a young kid, you never know if they're, you know, rapists and stuff like that. So that's one aspect of it. But I would agree with you and say that a paternal figure in a household is essential in terms of parenting. And yeah, so I would agree.
I also think that the child should have some say at a certain age.
because if the biological father is still stepping up to the plate in some way, shape, or form, then I feel like if the child is old enough, they should have some kind of say, because if they're adopted or not, it won't stop the person being around. And if they're of age, they can make that decision to go and see them even if they're not adopted. So I think it really depends situationally.
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys. The married,
So the debate here is pretty much why the woman has a child with the bad boy. All right. After she has the child with the bad boy and her and him don't work out, the stepdad comes into the house. He builds a bond with the child. Then they break up. Do he still have say so? In my opinion, no. Leave it alone. It's time to walk away, because you're getting emotionally attached to something that you shouldn't get emotionally attached. In other words, if you get with a single mother and she has kids, I say be a mentor to them, but don't try to be a stepfather, because the child is never going to look at you like you're a real father, regardless of what comes out. Very rare situations that's going to happen. I wouldn't say avoid it at all costs. What I'll say is baby steps. I feel like if you're going to be a stepdad or you're going to be the guy dating a single mother, make sure you guys are living in separate houses for a long period of time. Like, it could take years to build a bond. Too many people get in these relationships, right? And you're moved in after 6 months. You're moved in after 3 months. And then the relationship collapses once the sex gets old. And then you start looking at her pandering the child. You're like, hey, the child is bad. The child is this. We need to do this with the child. She's like, oh, you ain't got no say-so to my child. Don't say nothing to my child. That's what happens when the sex dies out with a single mom. You're going to want to correct things because the child becomes just another person. And you're not going to be able to do that. You have to live with the pandering. I also have another